Good evening. Today is March 16th. Right now it is 7:30 and I'm calling to order this evening's meeting of the Guildford Planning and Zoning Commission. For the benefit of those who have not had participated in the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, our procedures are as follows. The Secretary will read the legal notice of the meeting as published in local newspapers. The applicant will be invited to come forward and present the case, explaining to the Commission and others present what is being requested of this property. Comments of town agencies will be read aloud for each application if there are any. First, there will be clarifying questions from the Commissioners, and next there will be an opportunity for clarifying questions from the audience. Next, we'll ask those who want to support the application to come forward. Second, we'll ask those opposing the application to come forward. As this is a public meeting and must be recorded, it will be necessary for speakers to identify themselves by stating their name and address before addressing the Commission. The applicant will then be free to leave or remain for the balance of the public hearing and the regular meeting, during which time the Commission will try to reach a decision on each application. Each applicant will be notified in writing as to the decision of the Commission and has the right to appeal to Superior Court if desired. Decisions of this meeting are available the day after the meeting by calling the Planning and Zoning Office at 203-453-8039 after 9 a.m. I'd like to introduce the following members of the Guildford Planning and Zoning team. We have Richard Wallace, George Underhill, Rich Meyer, Ray Bauer, Tom Kost, Josh Hirschman, George Crowell, Lisa Marie Brewer, and filming for us tonight is Shannon Gale. Mr. Secretary?
Legal notice is hereby given that the Guildford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on March 16, 2016 at 7:30 p.m., location being the Nathaniel B. Green Community Center, 32 Church Street, Guildford, Connecticut, the Monocatuck Room on the second floor, for the following purposes. William and Jessica Rowan, 145 Tuttles Point Road, map 17, lot 17, zone R2, coastal area management, tear down and rebuild of an existing 3-bedroom house and detached garage, section 273-91. See on our agenda that has been continued to 4/27. Recommendation from the Zoning Committee to revise the boundaries of Town Center South Overlay District. Guildford Agricultural Society, 111 Lovers Lane, map 40, lot 138, zone R3, modifications of original special permit to amend the conditions of approval number 3 to enclose 4 sides of the existing pavilion in lieu of the original request for 3 sides. First public hearing date, and to be continued for a mandatory second public hearing on 4/13. West River Corporation, 348 Chapman's Island Road, map 23, lot 3, zone MR1, coastal area management and site plan, construction of a 35-foot by 35-foot building to be used for boat storage and repair, sections 273-73 and 273-91. Copies of these applications are available for inspection in the Office of Planning and Zoning Commission, Town Hall South, 50 Boston Street, Guildford, Connecticut. At this hearing, persons may attend and be heard, and written comment communications will be received. Dated this at Guildford, Connecticut, this 24th day of February 2016. Richard Meyer, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, we're going to continue. The very first one on our list, Mr. and Mrs. Rowan. Can I get a motion to continue?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we continue the Rowan application to April 27th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to reopen, I guess?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Yes, you're in. We're all in.
Okay.
All right, Paula Calzetta. Anything new we should know? No? Any neighbors or anything and have any interest, or no? Right, the reason we do a second meeting is in case any neighbors have an interest, but I suspect there is none. Any other questions? No?
Oh, wait, but somebody's raising their hand there?
Yes, I have a question.
Yep.
Has the alterations already been completed in the home? Yes.
Can you please stand up and state your
I'm
name?
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm Judy at 96 Guildford Drive. I live next door. And I take it this is the second meeting?
This is the second meeting.
Okay, because we were only notified about one meeting.
I sent the form letter.
And the meeting date was incorrect on the letter that she sent out to all the neighbors. The meeting date was listed as tomorrow and not today.
Okay. Will that taint the application, George?
Yeah, I would say. I'm not sure what kind of communication are you referring
sent a certified letter to a number of the neighbors. I don't know how many. I know I received one, and a few other neighbors received it, and they all said March 17th on the letter.
I'm sorry, that might be a mistake. That was intentional.
If you need proof of it, I have it with me.
George, how do we proceed here, George? Ray?
Well, they are entitled to notice, okay? And I think, for example, the people here, by being here, have waived their right to protest it, but there may be other people who wanted to be here that are going to show up tomorrow night when the room is empty. So I think probably the safest thing to do here is to ask the applicant to renotice.
Can I actually see?
Sure.
Yeah. Because were there 2 dates on that notice? Okay, March 17th. So there were also, because we had a meeting on this March 1st, so you only included for March 2nd.
March 2nd.
March 2nd,
Right.
yes, whatever date that was. So yeah, so you only included 1 date as well, because I would think that maybe it'd be sufficient if you had it for March 2nd.
I was
That's
told
okay.
just that.
Oh, just the second one.
Just send out formula.
Yeah, my suggestion, if everyone is in agreement to cover everyone, is that we ask the applicant to renotice it with the date of the next meeting. We put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
And that date
way
is-
people will get noticed.
And that's
I
April.
apologize.
No,
That's
it's-
okay.
It's
We're
okay.
good. We're good.
This happens.
I would like to ask if she has problems.
Yeah, that would be helpful now.
Sure, it'd be helpful now while you're here to...
Well, the addition was put on the house back in the 1980s. I have been living at that address on Norfolk Drive for 42 years. And I knew the previous owner that put the addition onto the house. So it's not like the addition is new, but she's made renovations to it, and now to applying for, a certificate of occupancy, and we just got notice of it. So obviously, the renovations have been going on for quite a while, which she's got stove, refrigerator, bathroom, might have been put in back in 1980, but now all of a sudden now she wants to bring in tenants, which kind of concerned about the fact that now you're turning this into a rental property instead of a residential.
Well, I just think it's an unfair characterization for you to say you didn't have notice, because you did receive a letter on February 17th, and this was put in the newspaper twice. I mean, I understand completely that the letter should have had the right dates, and that's why
Right.
we're doing this, but I think that saying that you didn't receive notice is sort of unfair.
Well, I meant proper notice as far as the right date.
That's fine.
I went to the Guildford website to look at,
Yeah,
see when the zoning and planning meetings were at this
And then
point.
they
So
said,
to say that we didn't know that there was also a meeting on March 2nd, as one canvas, 16th, is my concern. And we were told the meeting was going to be tomorrow.
So we'll continue this until April the 13th? April the 13th.
April 13th, fine. So I just would like to add something, because I feel I'm being accused of something at this point. That I heard, when I bought the house, that addition was already put on, there was already a bathroom down there. I did not change one footprint of my home. And it is not my intention to make it into a rental property, but to have it as a in-law apartment, as I have, as in the past, had my elderly parents, so I can take care of them.
It is within your rights to have it as a rental apartment if you so choose.
Okay.
And Guildford encourages that kind of thing because of the very reasons that you're doing it.
Yeah.
So, it's not like anyone's accusing you of anything.
Well, I just felt-
And that's fine. I'm sure she'd like to have notice. She's entitled to it. So we'll have another hearing on the 13th of April.
Okay.
And again, if you want a rental apartment there, it's your right to have that there.
As long as you meet the requirements of the zoning regulations.
Right,
That's-
right now, I
Correct.
just have a family
Yes.
member.
Right, and I would just say that, by being here, the individual that's speaking did waive their right to notice because they're here. My concern is that other people might show up tomorrow that were
Right.
hoping to have input, and they're not going to be here. So that's the only, it's not so much this lady, because she was here and had an opportunity to speak, and will at the next meeting as well, but just that someone else who did receive the letter may really think it's the 17th.
I apologize.
That's all right. It
We're good.
happens.
We're
So
good.
We'll fix it. Okay?
Yep.
Now, just make sure you do get notice out.
I'll go to the town tomorrow, get
Yes.
the correct letter, and
That it's going to be then, and make sure they get that.
I will.
Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Can I get a motion to table this? Or continue this? Continue
Yeah,
this.
continue until, I'll make a motion that we continue the application under consideration until April
13.
13th. Make sure I get the date right.
There you go. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Yay. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Guildford Agricultural Society, this is the modification. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Hello. Barb Hammerlin, 130 Cook and Hill Road, North Guildford, Assistant Secretary and Director for the Guildford Agricultural Society. As many of you know, we had gone through a special permit process and was issued a special permit back in February 7th of 2015 regarding the two new buildings that are on the fairgrounds. And one of the conditions was that at some point, the pavilion, it's item number 3, walls shall be installed on 3 sides of the pavilion, leaving the eastern side of the pavilion facing the fairground property open. In our discussions with our board of directors and officers and that, we decided that we would rather enclose the entire building. Number 1, for safety factors. For number 2, we're afraid that people will see 1 open side, somebody will go in, decide to park themselves there. Also, we have exhibits. That is our needlework craft exhibit building. So this will further help to protect the exhibits during fair time, and that will be able to close the doors and whatnot. What we are proposing, the existing enclosed building that is down there, it'll be the similar size, metal siding with sliding doors, because we do, by fire code, have to have doors that open on the side during events. The side to the inside of the fairgrounds, the one that we were going to leave open, will be a series of large doors so that we can slide the doors back to open that side up for an event that it would be held there. And basically, that's it in a nutshell.
Cool. Originally, the reason it was 3 sides was at your request, not as a condition of the Planning and Zoning Committee, right?
Well, it kind of was, because we had some neighbors who said that during some of the events, the noise bothered them a little bit. And so that was kind of a compromise that we had come up with to help eliminate that a little bit.
By enclosing only 3 instead of 4 sides.
Right.
How did that help it?
Because the neighbor lived on the back side
Okay,
of the farm.
okay. I got it.
So I'm guessing that the neighbor will be notified, and if they have a problem, they'll come.
We sent certified
Good.
letters out before this meeting, and she's been in, and I've already spoken to her.
Perfect. That's all we need.
Now, do I need to notice by certified for the second meeting? I mean, I was really kind of hoping, because this is such a minute situation, that we could forego the second meeting.
You don't have to provide any further notice, but the commission cannot waive the second meeting.
Yeah, no, she's thinking about sending another letter out. Does she
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. All right.
Any other questions? Or
I don't have any.
All good? Anything from the audience? No? Comments? Nothing? All right, well, thank you, ma'am. Got a motion to table this?
Make a motion to continue this to second public hearing on 4/13.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect, thank you, wonderful. All right, VFW, can I get a motion to open the second?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Here we go. This was the generator.
Okay, this is the second public hearing on the new VFW that we're proposing down on Mill Road. And if you recall, the last hearing, the sort of challenge was associated with a stipulation on the wetlands to move the generator, and we needed a variance in order to do that. Well, I've been to the zoning board of appeals, and we were successful in our appeal to gain a side yard and a front yard setback variance to allow the generator to sit in the front corner, sort of as far from the pond as possible, sort of in this corner next to a dumpster enclosure. And so they did see that there was no other location on the site, and they did see it as as something that rose to the level of a hardship for us, and granted us a variance for that. So this plan is an updated plan that shows that. I have a copy to turn in, and I think that that is the only change from the last time that we had presented this to you as far as the way that we've laid out the site. I think the only other topic that was sort of left a little bit open, we had a conversation, if you recall, one of the Mill Condo, I guess the president of the Mill Condos was here and speaking to us, who was across over on Mill Road over on this corner. And they had submitted a letter, and I think we had addressed and have addressed all that's in the letter. The one piece that was left a little bit open without conclusion was the hours of operation. And as you recall, I think their letter was requesting a 10 o'clock closing during the weekdays and 11 o'clock closing on weekends. The way that the center's been operated, and I think pretty successfully, and even to the neighbors' own sort of feelings, I think, we would be more comfortable if it was allowed to 11 o'clock for weekdays and 12 o'clock for weekends. This would be Friday and Saturday. And then it'd be linked to the open hall, the main space, and not the social club that they have. The social club is 20 people, and right now, sometimes they do go a little bit later, but it's a small group of people, whereas the hall is the event center that could have a group of people that's large enough to be disruptive when they leave and such. And then as well, that it be linked to amplified sound and to bands and such, which will end events in there if they're loud events. And so that's just an easy way for them to enforce in a way that they put it on their contract with the people that are coming in, that it's linked that the band has to leave or the DJ needs to leave. And it just simplifies it, and gives the ability to clean up afterwards and some time to egress from the center. And so that would be our clarification if we were possible on that clause.
So educate me. The sound ordinances of the town.
Sure.
Would that not stop the band from playing loud if it were outside?
Well, we're agreeing to the stipulation that there's no outside music.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if it's sometimes, and I don't know how this works, but I read sometimes that some of the bars in town have bands inside, and yet they're disrupting the entire neighborhood. So that's not going to be a concern here?
Well, two things. One, there is a sound ordinance. We're in a residential zone, so it's a stricter sound ordinance than would be if it was in a commercial location. So it's an actually pretty strict ordinance based on decibels. All the police officers have a decibel meter, and it's at the property line to certain restrictions. So it's very objective in the way that it's done. Obviously, neighbors don't want to call, they don't want to make that happen, but to actually come to that level. But should something occur along those lines, that is something that is always going to be over top of this. But what we're suggesting is, one, that they're also worried with the egress from the site, I think, and this would sort of be a compromise that we're willing to put a stipulation onto our special permit of these hours of operation, to hopefully release them from feeling that they need to call in the police or ask for it.
Maybe you could just take a look at the motion that we have proposed here, to take a look at the conditions, because there's 4 of them. Maybe, you okay with those?
I think it's possible. I don't know how it
Well, the 4th one, it's basically saying events can be restricted no later than 11 on weekdays and 12 on weekends, but that's not the social piece.
I guess it's the enforcement of that as to how, so is everybody out of the building, lights off, and, that's what we sort of had as a discussion associated with, is linking it to something that's actually enforceable, because there will be cleanup, and there will be, it's a center, and that would be restricted, because basically they need about an hour probably. They'd have to end events an hour earlier in order for everyone to be on
Well,
site.
I think to my way of reading it, maybe we can clarify is the event has to end, not the cleanup.
And that's, I think
Right.
that is reasonable. It's 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock, and it's the event, it says the hours of operation for events be restricted to no later than 11 p.m. on weekdays and 12 p.m. on weekends,
Right.
Friday and Saturday.
But that's the event, not the cleanup.
And I think that's good. And how do you feel that interacts with the social club, which isn't really
That's not
applied to that.
That's a different, that's not an event.
Yeah, good. No, I think that's fine and agreeable. And we're fine with the extra
Yeah, I guess
music
with
being
that, it
prohibited.
just-
They don't do that now and
It
won't.
would
and
just
don't
be
plan to.
restricted to whatever the liquor license is.
Right. And the lighting is fully within the dark skies.
To whatever the
Moves
license.
onto the wetlands there.
Shut down.
Has the lighting been an issue with the neighbors?
No, I don't think anyone brought up lighting as a concern. There was a concern because it's moved over that the building lighting over here was on the letter from the Mill Building, because it's a little bit more exposed to them. But these meet their criteria. They wanted them 8 feet in dark skies, and they aren't.
What about the parking area?
The parking area has dark skies full cutoff lights. In this area, we have a photometric plan that shows that there's no pollution on site of our site. And the other thing to note is, the Mill Building is probably 5 or 6 feet higher in elevation. We're down kind of in a hollow in there, and you sort of are looking down on the lighting. I don't think it will be disrupted. And right now, there's big floods that, 2 floods that sort of, handle the whole parking lot area. This is a much lower, there's 6 poles or 7 poles.
Do you have any idea what the liquor license allows for the latest serving of alcohol in this facility?
The latest serving of alcohol by the liquor license in the facility.
No, it's the same as like any other.
Is it 2 o'clock? Yeah, I think it's 2 a.m.
2 unless you pay extra, then I think you get a late.
Yeah, I don't think you have the late. This is actually a different liquor license than a bar.
It's a club, it's a
Well, yeah.
Club license.
Yeah, which doesn't have that option, I don't think. I think it's
Okay. And that's just restricted to the social part inside, because the event.
And that's the way that license operates, actually, is just covering the social club, the bar area for the social club, and it is a restricted club. It's not open to the public with events and such. It's just to the veterans and members that are using it.
So how do they serve liquor at the events?
It's somehow associated with,
There's an extra fee that we pay along with that license that covers the back, so you can have a little service bar in the back if you want.
it's the same that would be held by a temporary permit that would be granted to a catering service or something along those lines, but it's just an extension of this because it's on premises and already monitored.
On that generator you mentioned, what kind of fuel do you use for that?
It's natural gas. We have natural gas down on the site.
So they have piped in?
It's piped in.
It's dedicated to the generator?
Well, it's going to be, it'll have a separate metering probably. Well, it may be shared metering. It will be a dedicated line up there for the line size and having a high pressure and a regular at the unit just because of the scale. But
there's no storage of fuel?
no. It's just going to be just a town, the municipal service.
Thank you.
Good. Anything else, Tom?
I'm all set.
Josh?
I have a letter
Ooh,
from Mark Damiani,
nice.
Assistant Town Engineer, dated November 30th, 2015. BFW 57 Mill Road, map 46, lot 62, zoning special permit, demolition of existing building and construction of new building. The property owner is proposing to demolish the existing building and erect a new building at the rear of the lot. A new paved parking lot will be constructed in the location of the existing building. Stormwater provisions are met with the installation of an underground concrete chamber system to handle parking lot runoff. As part of the site improvement, the property owner is proposing to increase the width of Mill Road in order to construct 10 parking spaces on the west side of the road. These spaces are to be included in the overall zoning parking space calculation. The existing pavement on Mill Road is to be left in place. The travelway of the road is to be 22 feet, which meets the town A1 classification road standards. It is recommended the board approve the application, which includes the improvements to the section of Mill Road abutting the site.
Good, thank you.
And the one, just to extend to that, the one more approval we will need is from the Board of Selectmen to allow us to expand Mill Road. Now, they wanted to wait until after we had all our local approvals.
Of course. Any other letters or anything?
Well, there was a letter here, but in my packet, I think it was actually read at the first meeting, but it was dated January 20th, and Kevin agreed. It's already been submitted.
Okay.
Just got it in the pile here.
That's the one that has the conditions of approval from
Yeah.
wetlands, and one of them is the generator gets moved out.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, perfect. Anything else? Any other questions? All set. All set, all set? All set?
I just have a comment.
Go.
I'm technically a neighbor, by the way the crow flies, and I'm not afraid of the noise that has been, I do not get the vibes or sonics from decibels from that facility. I think probably once in 30 years.
Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Will we close the public hearing? Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, guys. All right, can I get a motion to continue?
So moved.
This one.
Yeah, the West River Corporation to 413, so moved.
Got a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Just one question on that. When the public notice is read, I think it was read as 35, but this is 3555?
That's why it's being re-advertised.
Gotcha, okay.
Ah, yes, that's right. And it's, the zoning there is 25-foot height, or?
I don't know.
But this building is 25 feet, you
I
think?
think it's 30.
30 feet high. All right.
Correctly. I don't think we brought the plan.
All right.
Okay.
Good, so that's done. All right, George, Commissioner Corbier is not here, and the zoning committee has made some recommendations. Can you fill us in, please?
Sure. I believe you all have a map. It looks something like this. This shows the recommendation of the committee. The yellow line, which is kind of bled out a little bit on this map, is the existing Town Center South Overlay Zone District boundary. The zoning committee met and recommended that the boundary be revised to follow the dash line, the heavy black dash line there, effectively eliminating the Seaside Avenue, Field Road, Marina area, and Seaview Terrace area from the overlay zone.
What was the rationale for
That, I'm not totally sure I can do justice to that point.
Okay.
I think,
And that's a key
I think-
consideration, right?
right, I think that, we talked about this at the last hearing regarding the moratorium. I think the issues were kind of the same. The zoning committee members felt that, in their wisdom, in their opinion, they didn't need to do any further study. They thought that in particular the C2M area should not be in the Town Center South overlay zone. Therefore, and as a result of doing that, some of the special provisions of the overlay zone, which allow certain uses, particularly offices and also residential development in non-residential zones by special permit, should not be allowed in the C2M zone. I think that's the
Yeah,
gist.
but I guess my question is why?
Because they,
I mean, I'm not trying to put you on the
no, I
spot, George, I
understand.
know.
I was at the meeting, so I kind of heard their, I think, like, as we heard a lot at the last meeting, some people were concerned about the impact of larger buildings, the provision to allow 60-foot high building, I think, was of concern. I think most of the fear related to, or fear is not the right, most of the concern related to potential office building development because in the C2M zone, residential development's already an allowed use, which wouldn't be affected, although the density would be affected and the maximum height would be affected, the residential development is still allowed in C2M. So that, but I think that the concern was office and the potential perhaps for a large office was the
I
driving
mean,
concern.
I thought we were talking about doing a study to take a look at just those issues.
Right, I spoke with Walter today about it briefly, because
Right.
I was on the zoning committee and I actually wasn't at these meetings because they meet at 10:30 on Friday sometimes. Anyway, he seems to be at this point on the same page with what the chairman recommended and what you're saying. We should have a study group really look at this and come back to us and determine, what's best for that area, because obviously there's a lot of concern, and I think that, that was sort of the last communication I had with Walter, so
All right.
I don't know if we should just continue this anyway till the next meeting, and then,
We're
yeah.
going to, but,
yeah,
maybe this is a good time, since, some people may be watching on camera. If there are residents in the area that would like to be on the committee, we're probably going to put that committee together in April. And so if anyone has an interest, they can express it to the administrative people on planning and zoning, and then whoever is going to be chair in April can pick from those names and members of the economic development team too. So if anybody's out there and they're interested in being on it, call Lisa.
I would suggest that if anyone is interested, they let us know in writing.
Yes.
Not a phone call or verbal. That way we have a clear record of somebody actually expressing that, so there's no ambiguity.
If there is anyone.
Right.
So yeah, in writing.
Email's okay.
Email or regular paper mail.
You gotta have a better map than this. I have no idea.
Yeah, I can't tell.
I have no idea what we're looking at here.
Yeah, I think there was just going to continue it.
Yeah. I apologize for the
So, I mean, is this something that should even go forward, given that we're going to be studying this, and this would probably be something that would be looked at as part of the study? It seems to me that,
Well, this is a proposal of the committee. The committee recommended it to the commission. The commission scheduled it for public hearing. So if you were to vote to withdraw this proposal, it seemed to me that would be okay.
Wouldn't we just have to have the next meeting and then vote it down? I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's another alternative, but I think you could withdraw it if you wanted to, since it is your proposal.
Right.
It's just like any other applicant who makes a proposal, if they want to withdraw it, they can at any point in the process.
given that this is a smaller piece of a bigger study, it seems to me that might be the best thing to do at this point.
Do we have to give 2 meetings to ourselves?
I don't believe so.
Well, any
What
zoning-
he's saying is that we're the applicant. We're making the application.
so we
So
can
at any
withdraw it.
point, we can
Right.
withdraw.
Right.
But it's us, not the zoning committee, that's making the application?
I would say, yeah, the zoning committee is advisory to the full commission. That's the way I interpret it, at least. When they recommended that the commission consider this amendment, you voted to consider it by promulgating it for hearings. In my opinion, you can vote to withdraw it if you want to.
All right.
But if you're uncomfortable with that, we can have another hearing. It's not a
Josh, what are
big
your
deal.
thoughts?
Well, no, I don't see the harm in, I mean, I guess I am kind of comfortable with it. I could see there being an issue with it in terms of who,
Why
the
don't we
genesis of the
receive public
application.
comment, and then we'll make a decision at the next meeting, because they're here, they want to talk about it.
We're probably going to vote down.
You're going to withdraw.
Well, yeah.
No, we won't even talk about it.
Is there anyone here in favor of talking about this right now? The overlay? Or just opposed?
We're opposed.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, to me, I think at the time this was recommended, it probably made a lot of sense, but given that I think there's a consensus here that we need to study the whole area, this would seem to be a piecemeal approach to what we're going to be doing anyways, and
My only concern would just be the procedural
Yeah.
process, not necessarily the fact that this is, because I'm a huge advocate of this going to the committee that will study it and it coming from them to determine it. I just don't know about the process.
well, I don't think it would be any harm to let it go to another meeting and vote to not, vote it down at that meeting then. Doesn't, I mean, it just seems it would take more time, and if we're within our rights to be able to
Well,
stop it, withdraw it now.
I'm confused. We haven't accepted anything.
So why do we have to withdraw anything? This is just a study that
There's
a
an
subcommittee.
There's an right now, I guess there's an application for us to either accept or reject something. It's something that,
Where is it?
I don't know, it's that map that you're looking at. That's my point. It's not good enough. We don't know what the map looks like. If we want to do this and we want to study it, then we should study it.
And I think it's arguable
And
that...
bring maps in and make a not reasonable argument why it should happen. Otherwise, I think we're at zero, and we should just appoint a committee to do the study.
And I think it's arguable if we have a complete application in front of us, given the fact that it's hard to even read the map, and there's no written, support for why this is being proposed or anything, but, I don't feel strongly about it.
I think we should withdraw until we study.
George?
I agree with that. I think we withdraw. Study.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we withdraw the application for now, given that there's a study that's going to take place in this area.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain, because I just don't understand procedurally.
Okay.
I don't either.
All right.
If I abstain, does it still pass?
Make a motion to approve the revised agenda.
So what do we...
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so let's deliberate. What's the first one?
VFW.
VFW. Can I read it? You want to read it? No, well, you can read it. We have some notes. Well, yeah, because I wanted to add just something under that last condition. Go ahead, read it. Then you voted that the Guildford Planning and Zoning Commission approve a site plan and special permit application for the VFW at 57 Mill Road, map 46, lot 62, as shown on Guildford VFW plans prepared by CK Architects dated December 11th, 2015.
There's a revised date of,
Revised date of...
is your new map dated today?
No, but it has a visual.
We have that. We got
We'll get the date in the motion.
And may I mention that you're also approving the CAM application as well?
Okay, yes. January 22nd is the revised date.
Revised to January 22nd, 2016. This application is approved with the following conditions: that the architect or engineer of record inspect installation of the pervious pavers and provide a letter to the ZEO certifying that the pavers have been installed according to plans. 2, that all lighting be dark sky friendly and no lighting shall overcast to the wetlands or water courses. 3, that live music or sound reproduction equipment be prohibited outside of the building. 4, that the hours of operations for events be restricted to no later than 11 p.m. on weekdays and 12 p.m. on weekends. The time restrictions shall not prohibit a reasonable time to clean up after the event. This application is approved based upon a finding that the variance granted it conforms with the zoning code. The special permit is effective on March 25th, 2016, and upon filing with the town clerk.
Second.
Now, this is a special permit and site plan. There's no camp. This is inland
There's
wetland.
camp
There's a
also.
camp too?
Yeah.
Why?
The record should show that this is consistent with coastal management policy.
Okay, so then that needs to be part of the motion.
Yes, right.
Okay.
I will amend my motion to include it being consistent with the coastal area management.
Okay.
And who seconded it?
Tom, I
I
guess you
did,
should be
I
second.
accept that.
Okay. So any other thoughts?
No, meets, with the variance, meets the conditions. I think we've heard from the neighbors. I think we've put the appropriate conditions in there to be respectful of their concerns. I think it's well laid out, and everybody wins, including the town with the road and with the VFW themselves.
I agree.
I think a lot of, I just want to comment, a lot of work has been going on for this to happen for a long time, and I think they've done a great job.
Good. Yeah.
Steve has been quite involved in fundraising for this project for a number of years until this
Yeah.
grant came forward. Being relatively close to residents.
George, any thoughts?
No, I agree with
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Any opposed, abstentions? Hearing none? The article is approved. Okay. Do we have anything else to decide?
think just the letter that we have, actually, we got to do a receipt.
What do you got?
We have a motion here to receive, I'll make a motion to receive the amended Article 27, open space subdivisions, and set a public hearing date for May 4th.
May 4th, good? We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None
And then
opposed.
we got a letter here, too, Rich,
We got correspondence, right?
about Haas Place.
This is to the Planning and Zoning Commission from Dennis Johnson, subject Paz Place, dated today. There is no objection to providing a temporarily restroom trailer to service as public toilet facilities during construction of the office building located at 506 Whitfield Street.
I think you have a little sketch plan there showing the location of this.
Do not say the name.
George, do they have any idea how long you're going to want this?
I was gonna mention that we don't know. This is in lieu of the bathroom that's going to be part of the main building. And this presumably is during the summer months when the Paz Place is going to be open. And they're still doing renovations of the main building, which is where the bathrooms are going to eventually be.
So the intent is to go back and use the main building once the construction's complete.
Work is completed. I don't believe
we
that
don't know
any
how
of the
long.
communications indicated how long that was going to be, but I think if you made like September 1st or something like that would be a reasonable deadline. If that's not good, they can come back and ask for it to be extended.
Good.
Now, are they specifically asking for the Porta Lisa model of this?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's exactly the thing that they're...
That's why it's so pretty.
Sure as hell don't want to have just a porta potty.
It's really quite something. I wish everyone in town could see how beautiful the Porta Lisa facility is.
Oh, boy.
Very nice.
Look at the lighting in there. Bet you it's all LED.
It is. It's really it's stylish and roomy. It says stylish and roomy.
It's nicer than the bathroom.
Moving right
The
along.
problem is it's winterized for cold weather, but we're not going to see cold weather in here, right?
Well, we're saying September 1st.
September 1st.
Yeah.
All right,
If they need
I'll
more
make a
time,
motion,
they'll have to come back.
and then we can deliberate more, I guess. Voted that the Guildford Planning and Zoning Commission approve the placement of a temporary restroom trailer at 514 Whitfield Street as shown on a sketch prepared by the applicant and an email dated March 3, 2016. This is approved based upon the condition that the trailer will be removed by September 1st, 2016.
Second.
All right, we've got anything else to add to
What
this?
did we say, September 1st?
Yes, September
Why
1st.
don't we say we should Labor Day weekend?
That's a good idea.
September 15th. Yeah.
There you go.
Good.
That way
Okay.
you're covered.
I'll re-second the revised motion.
Okay. And do we know if it's going to be the Porta Lisa? We don't have to nail that down. It can be any Lisa.
They told us that's what it's going to be, so I would say that's it.
And the sketch says where it's going to be.
Yeah.
This doesn't have any concern about being near a coastal area, does it?
That's why it's a Porta Lisa.
Oh, so, okay, Porta Lisa is in the event that, well, this is in the middle of hurricane season. Should we say that if a hurricane is imminent, it should be removed from the property, or?
Good idea.
I will make a second condition.
I'm sure they try to do that.
Yeah, but we should
If I
ask.
owned the Porta Lisa, I'd begin to...
You don't want the Porta Lisa washing out the sea.
I wouldn't need you to tell me to do that.
I don't think they own it, I think they rent it.
Yeah.
Right, but let's, this has all kinds of nasty chemicals in it to neutralize the effluent in the Porta Lisa.
I think it's hard to...
You don't want to go with that, Josh?
Well, I'm just worried, how do you determine when it's time to move it?
If there's a hurricane warning placed in,
Hurricane warning. I get nervous. There's a lot of times there's no hurricane. Maybe when the town is required to evacuate.
Yes.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Yes.
So wait, evacuate in a
Evacuate. You know how they...
restroom evacuation?
Well, no, they would evacuate the area, because that did happen to the
Yeah,
sales houses.
exactly.
I had reservations that night, they called to cancel, and because they were ordered to evacuate. They did. They ordered to evacuate by the town, so I guess you could say if there's an
Yeah,
order to
if there's an order
evacuate,
to-
that has to go with them.
If there's an order to... So I'll add another condition.
I'm sorry, we're children.
Hook it up to
That's
the
all there
old,
is to it.
find a truck that's got a ball on it, drag it.
Drag it out, or grab it by hand and just drag it out.
If there's an order to evacuate, the
Word of
trailer
Lisa.
needs to be removed as well.
Perfect.
I'll re-second that.
Okay, anything else? Last chance. All those in favor?
All right?
Bart had a question.
Did someone have a question?
Well, just a suggestion that I have a portable too, and if there's a storm coming, we notify the company to come and pick it up.
Yep.
And the marina also notifies the boat owners to take their boats out of the water. So that could be another.
Where do they put
Get out of the
the,
water, you gotta get it hot.
where do they put the boats?
Take them home. Take them home. They come down with their trailers, put them on the same way they bring them in and bring them home.
Cool. Well, cool. Well, thank you. All right, that's out of the way. That's out of the way. We have minutes. Did anyone have a chance to review the minutes? I did. They look substantially correct to me.
Yes, they look fine.
All right, can I get a motion?
So make a motion, we approve the minutes of the March 2nd meeting?
Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This breaks my heart.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
And may it be noted in the record that this is a world record?
It is a world record meeting. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor? Good night, everybody.